one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one really knows how the game is played. The art of the trade, how the sausage gets made. We just assume that it happens. No one else is in the room where it happens. Thomas Crane.
Alexander was on Washington's doorstep one day in distress and disarray.
Thomas Crane.
Alexander said,
Nowhere else to turn.
and basically begged me to join the fray.
Thomas Crane.
I approached Madison and said, I know you hate it, but let's hear what he has to say.
Thomas Crane.
Well, I arranged the meeting. I arranged the menu, the venue, the seating.
No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one really knows how the party gets yes. Pieces that are sacrificed in every game of chess. We just assume that it happens, but no one else is in the room where it happens. Meanwhile, Madison is grappling with the fact that not every issue can be settled by committee. Meanwhile, Congress is fighting over. All right. We'll give it another minute here and then we will get started. Good morning, everybody. This is Michael Goldberg. Hope you all are having a great Tuesday. Hope your July 4th was fantastic. Definitely let us know where you're watching from, who you are. And if you want, go ahead and attach your LinkedIn URL so everybody can connect with you after the webinar. So we are building a community here, and I think you're really going to enjoy what we're about to embark on. So I'll give it another minute and then we will get started. All right. So looks like we have a nice number of attendees on. Just a little housekeeping. Want to make sure that I believe that everybody is muted. So when you do have questions, you're going to go to this Q&A feature right here where you can ask me questions. Whenever there's a question here, it will pop up on my end. So feel free to ask me questions while we're going through this. And again, for those that are joining, welcome. And I think Allison Cruz, my good friend Allison Cruz, did something right. She actually put what she is looking for in a job. So tell us what you're looking for in your next role as well. So, but let's go ahead and get started here. So. Welcome to the first webinar. If you've signed up for all 3 webinars, you're going to hear me say basically the same thing every single day. So if you want to fact check me on Thursday to Tuesday's conversation, feel free. But no, you only have to attend one. Yes, we are recording this webinar, and yes, you will get a copy. It takes a little bit to download, so you will be getting this in a follow-up email. I believe in the next 2 days, you'll get a recording, a copy of the webinar presentation, and a couple extra goodies that I've included as registering for the webinar. So let's go ahead and jump in. So before, this is called the Career Search Roadmap for Executives. So what do I deem to be executives? Executives are director level and above. But if you're a manager or individual contributor, that's fine. We're glad you're here and glad you're listening in. So let me tell you a little bit about myself first here before we kind of get started. So a little bit about me. We're going to go left to right here, starting with the top. I was born and raised in Charleston, South Carolina. Spent the first 18 years of my life there. And yes, it's a cool city, a beautiful city for those who have visited it. For those who haven't, you should definitely go there. If you're a golfer, definitely get there. I then went to the University of Georgia, go Dogs, though we'll see when they're playing football. And then I went to work. My first job out of college was making $6.50 an hour in operations with Marriott, working in Atlanta, and then transferred to DC and started to grow from there into management. It's there I met my beautiful wife, Nancy, of 30 years, and moved to Big D down here. So, and then really started my career in HR and in recruiting. I've got about 25 years of recruiting experience, working for large organizations such as Sabre, BDO Seidman, but really where I got into the leadership positions was with Freeman and American Heart Association. So I'm excited to be here. I hope you are too. And let's go ahead and jump in. All right. So what are we gonna talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about a lot. We're going to look at what is your strategy? What does the strategy consist of? And then, we're going to get into some storytelling. This is going to be a somewhat interactive webinar. I know I can't see all of your beautiful shining faces because this is in webinar mode. It's different from a Zoom meeting, but we're gonna do some introspection and some thinking about you and how you tell your stories. And then I'm going to talk about how to become a subject matter expert to get you noticed. A lot of people think, well, if I'm a subject matter expert, I should be noticed already. And that's not true. So we're going to talk about ways to put yourself out there a little more, and then where to share your expertise, obviously for free. And then we'll talk about networking and engaging. And certainly we will answer any questions that you have. But like I mentioned at the outset, for those of you who are just joining us, feel free to ask questions. I have the question box here that'll pop open along the way. So before we jump in, let's start with a poll. And I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll here. And I'm just curious here. I want everyone to I do want everybody to participate. I currently have a true job search strategy. true, false. Why do I need a strategy? Thank goodness nobody is selecting that just yet. It's like the Kentucky Derby, it's neck and neck, right? So, so it looks like, if you can vote, please do. Take another 10 seconds here, and then I'm going to end the polling here. It is tied, so I need you to vote. So there you go. There you go. Keep it going. Keep it going. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So what it looks like is that I'd say it's still half and half, right? Only by 2 percentage points that people say I don't have a true job search strategy, but that's 20 people out of the people who voted. Didn't include all 43 people who are watching live, or 44 people who are watching live right now. So let's go ahead and move on. But I was just kind of curious there. So here are the real facts about the executive job search right now. It's not great. In fact, when you look at it, this is pulled from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Pardon my not putting the where I got this, but it is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And what it shows is for those who have 16 years plus experience, you can look at the comparisons between June, right? So anywhere. So when you look at, this versus this, there's a 30% differential, right? And you can, the total is, 3 to 11 there. But for men, it's 10.5% in the unemployment rate. In June 2020, it's for women, it's 12%. And that's fairly significant. So, in terms of, what you're looking for, it's what's going to be, what's going to happen is you're going to have to, yes, let me, I will try to make it more bigger here. I'm going to hold on, just try to figure that out. And I'm going to keep going, but basically, Lisa, thanks for bringing that up. It's so in June of 2019, it was 6,200, our total unemployed was a little over 6,000. Now it's over 18,000 for those that are in the that are currently in executive job search. So this is how most people start, right? Most people start by just the first thing they do is they hit the apply button. And why is that? Well, I get it. I've been there myself, right? So you found out you've been laid off. So the first thing you're going to do is maybe tell your family, friends, but then you're going to go out and just go ahead and start applying like nobody's business. And that really is kind of the shotgun approach to it. And it's not something that that I certainly, recommend. So please stop doing that. Just stop doing that, because it's not going to work for you. Strategy is a must here, right? So as we talked about, half of you have a strategy, half of you don't. So when working with my clients, this is basically the formula that we follow. It's really about, knowing your targets, telling a story, being able to answer, why am I the best person? Because we're asked that sometimes during the interview, and especially now when there are 200 to 300 applicants per position, sometimes even more. You have to be able to stand out above the rest and answer the why me. Be a SME or a subject matter expert. You're going to want to network with experts. You're going to want to network with the people that you may or may not have met, who can help you. While yes, it is a numbers game, it's not a numbers game on the apply. It's a numbers game on the connections, because the more people you connect with, the better off you're going to be able to have a better chance of someone going, you know what, I do know somebody that might have something for you. Contact this person, let them know I referred them. Engage with people, learn to engage, and then share your expertise. And that could be sharing it on LinkedIn, it could be sharing it on any of the other social channels. It could be writing an article for Medium or Fast Company or Forbes, or there's just a ton of different resources that you can use to share your knowledge. So why have a plan? Well, really, when you look at the slide, it tells you a lot here, right? So first and foremost, it shows that you own your search. You can facilitate self-introspection. It helps you target versus casting a wide net. It helps keep you on track so that you don't veer off the road and go down the rabbit hole of, well, this isn't working and you've only given it 2 days. So I've only given it 2 days, so I'm just going to move on. Right? We're going to track progress. It helps you track the progress. It helps you set those goals so that you can meet your targeted needs. It helps you anticipate roadblocks and then pivot when needed. Prior to doing this, or to helping job seekers with their job search strategies, I was focused on recruitment consulting and helping organizations build out recruiting functions. When COVID came, I had to pivot really, really quickly to say, all right, who can I help? Right? What's the fastest way that I can help people now and make them better? And the job search was an option, and I took it. And then it also helps, you said, as we've talked about, creating milestone dates. So let's start with targeting. But before we do that, I do have another poll question, of course. I am curious how long you've been looking. I wanted to do this before I went and started going into this, but how long have you been in the job search? Go ahead and cast your vote now. Again, the more people we have participating, the better. Deep voting. The more people that vote, the better the results are. They look great. So right now, it looks like a majority of you have been looking for at least 3 months. The next is 6 months, and then there's just started. So I'm sorry that you all are in that job search right now. Interesting that 5 people voted that they've been looking over a year, and so it'll be interesting to know. Certainly this is definitely going to help you for those looking over a year. Be interested to know post webinar to get in touch with you and kind of find out what you've been doing to understand what kinds of positions you're looking for and what is the what are some of the roadblocks that you're doing. Thanks for voting, everybody. So I'll end the sharing and I'll share the results here. Just move this over. Just so you can take a cat. So it looks like 30% of you, 3 months, 21%, 6 months, then 19% just started, and so on and so forth. So there you go. All right. So let's get back into the meat here. So it starts really with targeting. And so what do I mean by that? Well, keep this in mind. A lot of people target jobs, right? You probably raise your hand and think to yourself, yeah, that's probably how I started. You're targeting jobs. What you should be doing is targeting the people that you know, targeting organizations you want to work for. That is super important. And this should be one of the first things that you do when you're working on your job strategy. So what do I mean by that? So targeting people, it's targeting your recruiters, specific hiring managers, maybe former managers that you know, executives and non-executives who you have worked with in the past. As long as you haven't burned a bridge, you should be able to reach out to those folks. And they may or may not remember. You can certainly gently remind them. But as executives, there's a lot on those folks' plates. So it's okay to reintroduce yourself. Let them know who you are, that you worked for the company, and that you're asking for their help. Don't be ashamed of that, whether you were just let go or not. Don't be afraid to reach out to the people. One of the most natural instincts that people want to do is to help others. And so hopefully you're finding that along your job search journey. Connections in the company that you are targeting is another focus for you, right? So we're going to talk about targeting companies in a minute, but really it's about targeting the people that you know out there and people who can connect you to the people in those companies. So use those first connections to connect with second connections. And of course, I'm talking about LinkedIn. But whether you use LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, believe me, everyone works on those. Most everyone's working on those platforms and can be connected in some way or form. Don't know about TikTok? I'll let Allison Cruz, who's on this challenge me on that one to see if she's established connections through people. But you have to be able to find the right people, and that's the hard part on TikTok, especially because there's not really a company profile. So what do I mean by targeted companies? Well, targeting companies is what do I mean by that? I mean company size, right? How large of a company do you want to work for? Do you want to work for, if you've worked for a 10,000 plus organization, do you want to go back to that? In other words, do you want to be a small fish in a big pond or a big fish in a small pond? Me, I prefer the 100 to up to about 5,000 employees. Industry, whether you're staying in the same industry or your industry has been severely impacted by this, like the events industry. So the company that I used to work for, Freeman, at the peak before COVID had over 8,000 employees. Now they're in the hundreds of employees. So look at the industries that are hiring right now. The culture is also important. What are your values, and how do your values match up with the company's culture and the company's values, right? That's super, super important for you to write down what's important to you. What's important to you to learn on the job, or for you to be on the job and for you to go into your next job. What is that? What are the 3 or 4 things you're looking for in your next role? And then obviously a company type. Do I want a startup? Do I want a nonprofit? Do I want a public company, a private company? That's what I mean by company type. So remember, target people and organizations, don't target the jobs. And you'll find you'll be a lot less anxious about it. So of course, at the beginning of the webinar, I was playing Hamilton's In the Room Where It Happened. If you haven't seen it and you have Disney Plus, you should totally watch it. It is absolutely fantastic. But we're going to move into storytelling now. So Hamilton is considered to be one of the greatest Broadway plays ever. Why? Because it told a story of someone that we really didn't learn about in history. All we knew is that Alexander Hamilton was the head of finance, was the head of the Treasury under George Washington. We didn't know that after George Washington didn't take another term, that Alexander Hamilton's life just totally went downhill because he had somebody backing him up. So, but he says history is entirely created by the person who tells the story. That's you. You're making your own history. And I know that sounds kind of fluffy, but it's real. And you have the ability to change the course of your own history. Whether if you, let's say you haven't been active on LinkedIn, you can now put yourself in the history books of LinkedIn. Why? Because it will always be there. Nothing's purged from LinkedIn over a period of time. It's there. So why not share your stories and share your thoughts out on LinkedIn? When you're telling a story, you're also telling a story to the hiring managers, the recruiters that you're speaking with. You have to have a story ready to go. So let's kind of dive in and tell you what I mean. So what are 5 traits of a great storytelling? But we'll back up here. So Divyank asks, Michael, is targeting the dream company better than targeting the dream job? Correcting me if I'm wrong. I would say yes. You want to go work. Look, you can go work your dream job, but the company may be awful. The culture may be terrible and divisive and very siloed, and there's no open communication. So yes, I'd rather go work for a company, make a little bit less money in a position that's comparable to what I was doing in order for me to be satisfied. Now that's just me. Divyank, you may totally be the opposite, and it's okay, but I recommend going with the dream company over the dream job. So thank you for your question there. So let's talk about the 5 traits of a great storyteller. First and foremost, conviction. Here, it's why do you believe the audience needs to hear what I have to say? If you can say something with conviction, if you can be passionate about what you're talking about and helping share that information out there and do it with such passion, people are going to follow you. People are going to believe in you. They're going to look to you as a good storyteller. And of course, the next one is being very authentic. And that always comes. You don't want to lie, but you want to be you. So don't hold back anything. If you had, sorry for the dog barking, if you had a crappy day, then you need to take care of your, tell people about it. Sorry about the dog. The joys of working from home. So we'll just let him bark and have fun. All right, so vulnerability. So drop your defense mechanisms to create connections with people, right? Empathy. Understand your target audience's experiences to create the connection. Lessons learned. So everything you have done in your career has taught you something now. It is to your turn. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry. So what are the lessons that you learned along the way? This is part of showing your authenticity, right? Showing people and being empathetic. When you're being empathetic, you're showing people that you really understand what that person is saying or feeling, right? So these are these 5 traits here. So back in the 1930s and 40s, there was a gentleman by the name of Joseph Campbell. And it's interesting, I've had a couple of people drop this on LinkedIn over the last few days. But he wrote this book called The Hero's Journey. It was written in 1949. And a lot of what he did was he analyzed how stories were written, and he started tracking them. And so here's what he said. When you listen to a story, what you're doing is relating to the story itself. You imagine your life as it is today and connect your upcoming life events like a metaphor to the story at hand. So you're actually putting yourself in the spot of the hero. So you become the hero, and you're going to tell your journey through the job search, not through the job search, but through your career, right? Great stories understand that the story is not about them or the hero necessarily, but about the person listening to the story. So you should check it out. He's got some interesting stuff out on Google. If you just type in Joseph Campbell, American author and editor, you'll find him. But it's actually very interesting. So Joseph Campbell had had 3 key areas, and then there were 12 subcomponents to the departure, the initiation, and the return. Using Campbell's model, what I did on the other side is turned it into the Jobseeker Journey, if you will, right? So what Campbell says, the hero is living an ordinary life, right? But now He's now called upon to go upon a quest. So the Princess Bride, I forgot the guy's name, Locksley, was the prince. The prince Sir Locksley was just a farmhand, and he then goes out on this quest because the love of his life has been kidnapped and taken by the king. Then the initiation. So along the way, Locksley encounters different obstacles. He has a fight with Mandy Patinkin's character. He deals with Andre the Giant, who he has to get through the poison, where the guy tries to poison him, but inevitably the hero comes out every time, generally a winner, right? Then the return, every hero must come home, but they come back a much different person. So he came back married to the beautiful princess, right? And so they all lived happily ever after. So, but let's turn it toward the situation. So, or toward the job search. So the situation is the hero discovers a need to do something, which is what? Find a job, right? Or is asked by the supervisor to take on, well, in this case, the hero needs to do something, or is asked by the supervisor to take on a job. So your manager comes to you and says, I want you to track the number of candidates who are coming in from Indeed versus LinkedIn. So that's the situation. Okay, you as the person being asked to do the job, and you are employed, by the way, is you need to think through everything before taking the action. So what are the steps that you need to take? Okay, well, I need to make sure that there are tracking pixels on my Indeed account. There are tracking pixels on my LinkedIn posts, so that I know where these are coming from. There may be challenges or obstacles where the tracking pixels aren't working as well, or something's come up, and you as the hero have to go out and figure that out and figure it out so that you can make sure that you're able to go back to your manager with solid information to make a decision on whether or not, let's say, you want to invest more in sponsored posts on Indeed versus job postings or LinkedIn Recruiter. So as a result of your actions, you're going to describe the end result and its impact on your organization. So really, when you look to the right here, it's basically, this is all here. This right here, whoops, sorry about that, can't make a circle, is about you and how you build your stories. So look at your accomplishments that you've done, write out all those accomplishments, and then let's tell the story. All right, so moving on. So sorry, we have a question from Aditi. Hello, Aditi Kulkarni, nice to see you. So hi, Michael, what according to you is the best way to tell a story? Audio, video, or text? Why? That's an excellent question. What if I told you all three? No, I would really say you want to focus on video, copy as content in your postings, through articles that you write. There's really not one best way, but I think a combination of video, text, slide producing on LinkedIn. I'll be putting on another webinar about how to use LinkedIn more effectively and how to build out content. We'll talk about some of that here, but go into more detail later. But I think using a combination of all three is going to yield you a better result. Why? Because you're putting yourself out there in different mediums, and different people respond to different mediums, right? So me, I'm a visual learner and an audio learner. I have to see and hear in order for something to click in the mind. Some people can watch a video and do great. Other people just need to listen and they got it. But me, if someone tells me, all right, this is what a client's telling me, this is what I need you to do, I am taking notes and I'm repeating back so I know that I'm hearing the message. So really, Aditi, the best way is to use a combination of all three methodologies, right? So I hope you found this slide helpful. All right. So now it's your turn. All right. So I want you to take out a piece of paper or open up notes, if you will, and or something. And one bullet at a time, here's what the first thing I want you to do, and I'll give you a minute to minute and a half to do this. I want you to write down 3 to 5 leadership strengths that you can bring into your stories, that you can back up in your stories. In other words, here's a leadership trait, and if I say I have this leadership trait, it's going to reflect in my resume, or it's going to reflect in my LinkedIn profile or my webpage. So go ahead. I want you to write down 3 to 5 leadership strengths that you can back up in your stories. And what I want you to do in the chat, is I want you to please put some of those strengths there. So just the first bullet. All right. Driver, critical thinking, integrator, influence, innovate, engage, love it, inspire, coach, discretion, Nicole, very good. Motivator, Aditi, for sure. You're able to see other opportunities that others do not. Lisa, excellent. Bettine, the leadership trait that sets the part is, I missed it, common vision. Terry, visionary, effective listening, make teamwork well, pioneer, mentor, influencer, creative, innovator. Allison Cruz, that is totally you. Empowering, I love that, Terry. Empathy, this is great. Walk the talk, that's important. Connecting with people from different cultures, that is fantastic, Thomas. Future mindedness, so you're able to, you're a futurist, Nicole, that's great. All right, so now, second bullet, second homework, or not homework, but classwork. What are the types of business challenges that you solve repeatedly? And I want you to list them out on that piece of paper. And then what I want you to do is put that, again, just brief, 1 or 2 words that briefly summarize those business challenges. And I'll give you guys about a minute. Mike, and efficiency, nice. I think that's super important for IT folks as yourself. Nicole, retention for you, that's extremely important. Stephanie, engagement and cultural transformations, employee engagement, that is so key. And it is a business challenge. Most employees don't feel that challenge. Process innovation, yes. This is great. Customer satisfaction, communicating complex and no effective terms of customer value, implement structures, bring innovative programs, upskill, enhance employees. Karen, inventive when a solution is not readily apparent. Yes, Karen Alvarez, awesome. Jeff Long, organization, efficiency and creative solutions. Leading others, this is great. Thank you all for participating. All right, so Allison with employee advocacy, sales and enablement, brand reputation. These are all things that you all have. These are your superpowers, folks. These are your superpowers, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So what are the phrases or words that your colleagues use to describe you? Like, I know when people have complimented me, they'll say, Michael, it's just not the same around here. There's that energy is gone. The lively atmosphere, your genuineness and authenticity are missing in our recruiting and HR department. What are some of the things that people are saying about you after you've left the organization? Or if you're still working, let's say in your current organization. Inspiring teacher, Mike. Aditi, sunshine, yes. You are a ray of sunshine, Aditi Kulkarni. Thomas, dependable and delivers on commitments. That's awesome. Empathetic, transparent. Stephanie Orr, awesome. A nice person, a hard worker, trustworthy. Sonia Stoss, or Stoos, a breath of fresh air. I like that. And that's so important in organizations. Nicole is harmonious. Vera is helpful and sincere. Ronald Placetti says he's hard. Huh. I don't know about that. What is it? What do you mean by that, Ronald? Todd McDowell, energetic. Priscilla Hollis, a servant leader. If you don't know what a servant leader is someone that'll go beyond the ends of the earth to get things done for whoever asks something of another person. All right. And then last one, JS, taking our customers and making them successful. Nicole, or Apollo, Ango, excellent. You're a game changer. How amazing is that, right? So thanks for participating in this, guys. I hope you found that helpful. And now you have some basic structure. You've got your 3 to 5 leadership strengths. You know the types of business challenges you've said, the phrases that your colleagues use to describe you. You know what you do with that last one. You go on LinkedIn and you ask people to recommend you using those types of words. And do recommendations help you get a job? No, but recommendations helps justify your reputation. And also those are things that can be put actually higher up in the summary page of the LinkedIn page, in the LinkedIn section of the summary section of the LinkedIn page. So think about that. All right, so thanks for participating, everybody. It looks like I might have another question. Nope, I'm good. So just make sure I'm on the right slide here. It didn't go. So are you a subject matter expert? Are you? Let me ask you, I'm gonna ask, I've got another poll here. Oops. I want you to answer this true-false question. Executives and subject matter experts are the same, true or false? Give it about another 5 seconds, so get your votes in. Doom. Okay, so here you go. Whoops, I want to go to the other screen. So you're correct. They aren't the same. A lot of people think, oh, they're executives, they must know everything. Truth be told, I've worked for some executives that weren't subject matter experts, even though they thought they were. I worked for executives who relied on me and others as the subject matter experts because they wanted to learn. But anyone can become a subject matter expert. All right. So true or false? The answer is false. So why should I become a subject matter expert? And I think that's an important question. So first and foremost, it's an opportunity for us to share on various platforms. The other idea is that these platforms are free, right? It's free advertising. People pay attention to you. And for the opportunity to share, we're talking about your ideas and your stories. Maybe you learned something new and you want to share it with somebody else. Remember when you were whispering to somebody in class in high school and the teacher would say, is there something you'd like to share with the class? And you'd say, and that's how most people, when people are asked, tell me about a time you did this, or why should I choose you? It's, but become a subject matter in something, because the more you learn, whether it's learning a new skill or you're continuing to grow in your current role, you want to be that go-to person. So again, not to pick on Allison the entire webinar, I probably will just because she's a friend of mine, but she would be my go-to person on employee branding. She knows what she's doing. And I'm going to rely on her to help me understand X, Y, and Z. But what it also does is it helps to create more meaningful connections that you have on LinkedIn. People, you're a trusted advisor to people. And so you do this by sharing your knowledge. People like and engage with you, then they share their knowledge and you like and engage with them. To me, it's an overall competitive advantage as job seekers. With the number of job seekers, with the 30,000 folks with 15 plus years, and I know not everybody has 15 plus years on this call, with sitting at 30,000 people, that's a lot of people you're competing with across the country, right? It's a market differentiator. You will stand out to recruiters, hiring managers, possibly if you decide to do contract work until you land your full-time role, it'll set you apart. And you're going to stand out amongst those folks because why? You're contributing every day. When I say every day, generally Sunday through Thursday, maybe on a Friday, you can do something fun, right? Because you're there for them and people know you're going to show up for them. You may show up at different times of the day, but they know you're going to be for them. And what does that do? When you show up every day, it helps trust. It helps create that trust quicker than if you didn't post. And if you were cold calling a connection to say, hey, I'd like to talk with you about a informational interview or have an informational interview with you. Would you have time? Well, if they don't know you and you haven't built that trust with them and you haven't nurtured that relationship, it's going to be really hard for that person to trust you outright. And they might not be willing to take a meeting as fast as if they had seen you out there every day or seen an article or you've emailed them articles because you're interested in working for their company. It's chosen by the media more often as a source of information. So, right. So what does that mean? Well, it means that if I'm known as a subject matter expert, maybe I'm going to be called out. So yesterday and this morning, I've been on 4 different, 3 TV stations and 1 radio station to talk about the importance of having a job search strategy. And so to me, that shows that I'm a subject matter expert on this topic, along with being a subject matter expert in recruiting. You're probably not going to be a subject matter expert in more than two areas. I wouldn't, because then you overextend yourself and then you're trying to be everything to everybody. You're going to be sought after as a speaker, presenter, or industry representatives. You're going to be sought by those people to speak. Are the people to be associated with, you're going to be the person to be associated with and to conduct business with. You are the person that they're going to want to hire because you are a subject matter expert. And then, like I said, if it's a particular industry that you are super passionate about, you're going to be the go-to expert. So it's super important on why you should take a look at becoming a SME overall and putting yourself out there. So how do I start? And this is generally the look when I tell people, they're like, yeah, okay, I could kind of do that. Well, what is it driven by? Well, where do you start? Let's start with that. And then I'm going to get to a point here. So start here with these 4 key questions. And I want you to really pay attention to this. First, you need to ask yourself, what do I do? Right? What do I do that I really, really love? And then I'm going to tell you to answer the second question. And I want you to take a minute. I want you to, let's do this as an exercise. I'm going to do this, but I want to turn this into an exercise. So first question, what do you do? I want you to write that down. And if you feel for it, go ahead and post that in the, in the chat. And Aditi, I'll get to your question in a few minutes. Next, what I want you to do is I now want you to tell us why you do it. Why does this matter to you? Why is this so important? Actually, it's question 2 and 3. So why do you do it? And then why is it so important to you? And then I want you to answer, who do you do it for? Who are those end customers that you do what you do for? If you can have these 4 questions answered, you're sitting pretty. And we've got some great answers here. Nicole, I cultivate what's possible for individuals and organizations. Sonia Stews, training and development. Jeff Long, to help people and improve lives. And if anybody has math questions, they need to go to Ronald Passetti, because he says he's good at math and he likes it. Why do you like it? That'd be my follow-up question. Why do you like it? If you had to tell somebody why you really enjoy math, Ronald, what would you tell them? You can't just say, I like it. I like ice cream. I like cake. I like meat. I like potatoes. Okay, why? Because it's good? Yeah, but there are other reasons too. So we won't go there. All right. So Aditi asks a great question. Do you need to be a SME first to become an executive later? Not necessarily. Aditi, you could become a SME now, but you need to, it's totally separate. So a SME is somebody who is basically an expert at what they do almost on an everyday basis. So my expertise is helping folks with their job search strategies. Have I been an executive before? Yeah, I've been an executive. I've been in a director role. I've been in an executive director role. I've been in a VP role. And now I'm a CEO, I guess, of my own company. So I guess that makes me an executive. But I have always had that subject matter expertise in recruiting and job search strategy, because it's what I am passionate about. So all a subject matter expert is they're sharing their passion for what they do. And they're trying to share that passion to help others. Down the road, yes, you will become an executive. So that's a great question. So thank you. All right. Excuse me. So how to evolve as a subject matter expert? You're going to build, like we just talked about it, DT, you're going to build foundational knowledge in the one area that you are passionate about. You want to stay tuned into that area. You want to bring tested ideas to the table. You want to share those ideas with others. Where do you do that? That's what I'm talking about. Articles, LinkedIn, Facebook post, wherever you want to post. You only get one chance at this. So you have to be very genuine and very passionate, and you cannot put out fake news. So you have to be more than familiar with the topic to be a subject matter expert. My preferences, if you're a subject matter expert, you've done this in order to help other people. You've actually done it, know the steps, understand the process, understand the workflows, whatever it takes, right? And then, stay tuned in by keeping yourself abreast. So set up like Google job alerts on your area, subject matter area of expertise. So, for Sonia Stews, who's in training and development, you should have training and development as a job alert. You should have learning and development. You should have instructional design. You should have blanking out, actual trainers, training skills. Those are the type of keywords you want to have in, so that you're continually being fed news about companies or about articles that you can read about and that resonate with you and help create you more into the subject matter expert that you already have begun on that journey. So the biggest obstacles to overcome, I mean, this is why people go, when I showed the kind of the women that were kind of going like this, and when I talk to my clients, I say, you should become a subject matter expert. That you're really good at what you do. And I get this, and looking around, I'm like, all right, that's fine. So obviously these, fear of the unknown, lack of confidence, time is the biggest one. Focus is another. Being able to sit down and schedule time on your calendar to write out 2 or 3 posts to share over the next 2 or 3 days. Having that focus to sit down and write an article. And it's hard in the current environment that we're in, where we're all at home. Even working from home, as you heard, the dogs were barking earlier in the webinar. I can't control that, right? So what happens when that happens? I was starting to flounder because I was in a smooth cadence in my presentation. But when those dogs started barking, started thinking, all right, where's my wife? Where's my son? Where's my daughter? Why can't they get the dogs out of here? And I just had to wait till it calmed down to kind of get back on track. So focus. And if you need to, put on a pair of noise canceling headphones or something, play some music. I'll tell you, here's something that works. I kid you not on this. You're going to laugh. So if you go to YouTube and you search under 10-hour Tetris, it is literally as if you were playing the video game, and it somehow gets you into the mindset, and it's like you're playing the game, except you're just typing words and stuff like that. I kid you not. On YouTube, search 10-hour Tetris, hit play, and I guarantee you, you will be focused and engaged. I don't know what the psychology is behind it, but there's your freebie for today. If you got anything out of this webinar, you can tell them, I learned that I could do 10-hour Tetris, and that'll keep me focused for the rest of the time that I'm writing content out. So the other big thing is to step out of your comfort zone, right? Tanmay says the lo-fi playlist on Spotify. Very good. I didn't, I never heard of that one. I'll have to try that out, Tanmay. Thank you. Stepping out of your comfort zone. And this is where a lot of people, that's where the fear of the unknown comes from. And I was there about a year ago. So I've been consistently posting on LinkedIn, writing articles on LinkedIn for about a year. And I decided to get a coach. So I hired my coach and now very close friend, Fanny Dunnigan, to really help me out to get out on video and to how to create content on LinkedIn. I worked with another coach, Judy Fox, who helped me understand how to get things done. People are worried. So step out of that comfort zone just for a day and try it. And then try it again the next day and the next day, right? Because the job search isn't about just networking for 8 hours a day or applying for jobs 8 hours a day. There's going to be some time where you want to say, all right, I got to hit the pause button. I need to meditate or exercise or relax or do whatever. But you should probably carve out 1 or 2 hours just to do some research on Google to educate yourself, number one, but also maybe to write an article. Maybe you read something that really sparked an emotion, and now you just want to put that out there and you want to share it with your friends. You want to share the article you read, but in the copy, where it says, what do you want to post? You give a nice summary of what you want to post. And it gets people engaged into reading the article, and you explain what you learned from the article. No one will read what I post. So what? Who cares? You're out there, you're making history. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about the numbers, the number of likes, the number of comments, the number of video replays, etc. Humans, yeah. Do we look at it? Yeah, we do. I look at it all the time. But I will say this. I've learned not to worry about it. And you definitely don't want to focus on people that are kind of vying for the same type of position you are and see that they have 100 comments, 300 likes, and 1,500 views. You don't compare yourself to others because you're your own person. People will disagree with me. Let them disagree with you. That's what you want. LinkedIn or other social platforms or blog platforms that allow for comments, That's what you want. You want to continue the conversation. You want to continue the story of the article and share your ideas. You don't want to get belligerent. You don't want to tell the person something awful, but you want to keep your cool, and you want to, write out your, just be okay with disagree to disagree. It's okay. And what if I fail? You're not going to fail. You will fail. You will fail. I guarantee it. First couple of times, flop on your face. However, if you give it time, you're going to see that it starts to work. And it generally takes a couple of weeks for you to build. Why? Because you're building trust with your viewership out there. So it looks like we have a couple other questions that popped in. So I want to make sure. So Vivian Gates, how to become an SME? For example, I'm looking to make my career in a data engineering role. Becoming an expert in some technologies is better, or just have a good knowledge base about all technologies which are used in track you are passionate and not be an expert. I think I understand the question. I would say that if you're interested in data engineering, you want to pick the tools and the tools used for data engineering, whether it's data mining, data architect, data security, and focus on one or two topics of subject matter expertise, if I'm understanding your question. Bettine says, how important is it for you to focus your subject matter expert skills on one industry as opposed to a functional role such as product management? I think you don't have to focus on one industry. You can be what we call in the HR world, an HR generalist that could cut across recruiting, performance management, employee relations, legal knowledge. So I think it's important I think you can do a functional role. And since you're in product management, you want to become more of the SME in product management. But if you have a target industry, Bettine, that you really want to focus in on and you want to be known for that, let's say you wanted to become an agency recruiter, right? Most agency recruiters have certain specialties and they focus on particular industries: healthcare, supply chain logistics, technology, accounting and finance. Focus on that if you want to get noticed by recruiters in that particular industry, but also be an expert on the functional side as well, because you can do it industrially or functionally. But make sure that you've got your target industries first before you go out and be a SME for a particular industry. Hope that answered your question. All right. So we are trucking right along here. So really, the biggest obstacle to overcome when you look at this is it's about you and your ego. Suppress your ego. My mantra, which is from a book that I read by Gabrielle Bernstein called May Cause Miracles, is I embrace fear and choose love instead. And I tell it when I get stressed, I tell myself over and again, I embrace fear. Remember, fear of the unknown is one of the points, right? And choose love instead. Embrace love instead. Embrace fear and choose love instead. That's all you got to say to yourself, or find your own mantra, right? When you feel yourself getting worked up, recruiters aren't replying back to you, you're not hearing back from connections that you've reached out to in a day or two. It's going to go away. Don't stop. Don't let your ego get in the way, because it's your biggest enemy. Okay, where do I share? Well, there's a lot of places that you can share, right? There's Medium. There's podcasts up here. There's Forbes. There's YouTube, which is a great place. And this is actually live streaming on YouTube. Yourwebsite.com, that's actually, if you have a website, that's your website. So for me, it would be hiringtransform.com. Blogging, Reddit, LinkedIn posts, LinkedIn articles, Inc., Facebook groups, Twitter, SlideShare, If you've had done presentations that you want to put out there and share your expertise, put it out there. But I would also put those presentations, upload those presentations as a PDF into your LinkedIn profile under the last where the job you did that presentation. So there are so many places to go. Now, if you're interested in podcasting, it's actually super, super easy. You need a good light that's sitting in front of you. You need a decent camera, and you need something like this. This is called the Blue Yeti microphone. It'll cost you probably about $250 to do all this, but only do it if you're passionate about it, and you have to show up every week to be to get ratings. And you can put it out there on Spotify. You can put it out there on obviously Apple, and there's some free podcasting hosting platforms. You can even do it with a pair of earbuds if you want. But the free podcasting hosting platforms include Buzzsprout, Podbean, Spreaker, Podiant, and Anchor. Anchor is probably the one that I'm going to end up choosing here. So, all right. I want to stop for a second and see if there are any questions about the last 4 or 5 slides that I've talked about. If you do, go ahead and type those questions in. I'll give it about 20 seconds, and then we'll go from there if nobody's there. No questions? No problem. No problem. Just I definitely want to ask. Okay. So, so there is an alternative, and it's hiring a ghostwriter to write your content out and post on social channels. It'll save you time. It'll help build your brand awareness a lot quicker than as if you were doing it yourself. It can help communicate the why I'm the person to be hired and selected for this position. Those people know SEO, search engine optimization, and know how to get you noticed by using certain keywords and tags in your posts. And they can help you become the voice. They can help become the voice of authenticity. So it's certainly one of the services that I'll be offering shortly. But I would say that if you want a good ghostwriter, I'd probably recommend my friend Allison Cruz, because she's a great writer. I don't know if she wants to do that. So Allison, comment there. But it might be a good way to make some gig money, right? It is the gig economy. So Sonia asks me, how would you monetize a podcast, or is it just to show that I'm an SME? It's a really good question. So, and let's stop down and say that becoming a SME is not about making money. You have to go into it with the mindset of, I'm going to share my expertise. I'm going to share my journey along the way with my connections and the people out there. It is not about, again, nobody cares about you. They care about what you bring to the table and how you can help them. That is the most important thing to remember. You can monetize a podcast by getting sponsors. That's really the only way I know about it. I don't know if anybody else has any suggestions, and they can put that out on chat. But it's mainly to show that you're a subject matter expert and to share your knowledge. Mike asked, if I'm changing industries or careers, how can I be an SME? Mike, that's a great question. If you're changing industries or careers, what you want to do is you're going to have to put a lot more time into that research, and then you're going to have to put it into practice by finding someone that you can do. Let's say you wanted to become more effective in, you're an IT manager, but let's say you want to become a project manager or a project leader, right? And yes, Mike, I know you've been a project leader, but let's just say for someone that's been in human resources and wants to become an IT project manager, about that, they're going to need to go out and research what the IT project manager does. What tools are they working with? How do they do their project management versus that you've done maybe in HR or in for a particular set of programs. So it's going to take a lot more research, and then you're going to have to find someone that says, all right, I'll give you a shot at that. And there are people that are willing to do that. Hey, I want to help. I want to prove to you that my project management skills are here, and I'll do it for free. And if you have a project that I can help you on, I'll sign a confidentiality agreement. Sorry, that's going to start barking again. The person delivering the groceries. So there you go. So Mike, I hope I answered your question. Adam Kieran says, I've tried to switch careers several times and have been always denied. They wanted me to take entry-level job or get a degree in that field. Yeah, it is much harder to change careers. The answer is you are going to have to take a lower salary. I don't know that you'd have to take an entry-level job. If that's what they're telling you, Adam, then I would just keep going to find someone who's going to give you that opportunity. Here, case in point, I was in the hotel world, went and got my MBA in human resources management, and I was getting rejected all over the place because I wanted to go from hospitality into human resources. But I found someone that gave me the chance. And in 1993, before I graduated, I was able to land a job. But it depends on the careers that you want to switch, and I'm happy to have an offline conversation with you on that. But it is a little harder to switch conversations, especially if you've been doing something for 5+ years. If you've been doing hospitality or restaurant management, and we know that those fields are struggling right now, if you've been a manager, you can look in other industries, because as long as you've managed people and you've serviced people, you have a lot of transferable skills. So my suggestion there would be to look at the transferable skills that you have, look what skills are needed in the career that you want to do, and then study up on that. And then look at your transferable skills and say, all right, here's what I can bring over. And I can start putting that into my story when I'm telling people what I'm looking for, when I'm networking. In the resume, it's going to be a little harder unless you've actually done some things within that particular career change. So, and Apollo has a great advice. Pitch your skill sets and not your positions, and leverage it with your experience and accomplishments. I couldn't have said that better. So that's great. JF says, what is the best way to articulate your worth in a new country such as the US? How to bring the former track record from another country? The worth question is, that's an interesting question, JS. I would say that the best way to do that is that, you can't say, well, I was making X amount of dollars in one country, and this is what it's going to be. There are plenty of folks who have immigrated here and become U.S. citizens that when they came here and got their green card and were allowed to work, that they took a much lower level job. They understood that. So to communicate the worth and the value, if you were a VP of human resources, and let's say I'll go with let's go with India, and you moved to the United States, the chances of you becoming a VP of HR for a multinational company, actually, you may have a chance, but if you were to go and work for a smaller organization that wasn't global, that didn't have this the presence in the country from where you're from, or even an international presence to begin with, then basically you're going to have a hard time justifying your worth there, right? You're going to have to take a cut from what you were making, but you will be making. You're probably going to have to take a 20-25% haircut when coming over to the U.S. So I hope that helps. So let's keep it here. We're 20 minutes away from finishing up, so we do have some more slides to tackle. So the art of networking, and thank you all for the questions. The art of networking is super easy. You want to listen. And so there are the best coaches are the ones who do less talking and more listening. And as the person's talking, think about what you can offer them before you say something, right? Don't just blurt out something to try to be the subject matter expert or to take over the conversation there. I've been in plenty of networking situations where people have done it. I'm sure you all have. And you're thinking to yourself, why is the person trying to dominate the conversation? Generally, it stops everything down. So identify super connectors and influencers, let's say in virtual meetings, and just listen to them and listen to what they have to say. And then transfer what you've learned with your online audience as a subject matter expert, or sharing that you've talked to a super connector or a super subject matter expert in the same field you are. Here's what I learned from so-and-so at such and such company about finding a job. Share that, transfer it out there. Bring your LinkedIn and professional online connections to life, meaning pick up the phone and have conversations with them. And I've done that with several of my people. There are people on this call that can vouch for what I've done for them. Because I said, it wasn't just a connection, hey, thanks for connecting, and just forget about it and move on. They picked up the phone, or they've emailed me or in-mailed me and said, hey, can you help me with this? Or hey, can we have a conversation? I'd like to get to know you. It's super important for you to do as a job seeker. And remember, the most important thing is it's not about you. So the one thing, like in the chat feature here, and not to take away from when I'm talking, but I'll stay on a few minutes after, chat privately. You can chat privately with one another in the chat feature here. You just find the name of somebody, say, hey, I've checked your LinkedIn profile out, really like it. Let's have a separate conversation. Let's have one-on-one conversations, right? Write down their names, connect with them on LinkedIn, or find out where their preferred method is. They could be through email or what have you. So Tenmei makes a great point here. People love people who help. So, so essential networking. So make an effort to do this at least several times with several people at least once a day. I like to network 3 times a day. I like to post and network 3 times a day. So generally around the breakfast time, the lunch hour, and right after dinner. I just find that more people are on. Other times they're engaged in work activities or they have other things that they're doing. But I always find I get more interaction with people during mealtime. Go figure. Be proactive in finding ways to network. Don't just focus on LinkedIn. Search their name on Google. Find out where their other platforms are and engage with them as much as possible. Tag them in your posts. Think long-term. This is not a sprint. I know that sounds so cliche. It is a marathon of sorts. A job search is a marathon. Or as other people say, a job search is a full-time job. And it is. And networking should probably be about 70% of what you're doing in your job search. That's right, 70%. Embrace the sense of community to help one another. So don't make it about yourself. Make it about helping others who need the help just as much as you do, and focus away from yourself and onto others. And you'll find that your networks will continuously grow with that type of mindset. Join an online forum and be patient. Don't expect someone to get back to you right away. It takes time. It takes time. So why should I post on LinkedIn? Mark Metry, who is a super user of LinkedIn, put this out there. I'm not going to read through this, but you'll see it on when I send share the deck slides. You'll be able to look at this. So how to engage first and second degree connections. You want to be purposeful and you want to be targeted. You want to share valuable pieces of content. So industry trends, benchmarks, reports or insights that you've pulled, or maybe that you have access to. You can do blogs, you can do videos, you can do articles that you've personally written. You can use LinkedIn and identify using LinkedIn, identify your first connections. You can print a report of your first connections and look at who you truly know and help them be the foundational network to help push your stuff out. It's called podding, Podding. And be sure that when you're engaging with these first and second degree connections, personalize to their interest. That's super, super important. And Tanmay says, meetup.com is a great place to meet people online. So is Eventbrite. So thank you for that, Tanmay. So here's an example of some type of a form letter, if you will. So your post on, let's say, your post on LinkedIn, or your post on job search came across my LinkedIn feed today. I thought it was insightful and provided a lot of value to your connections. I recently wrote an article or blog on a similar topic and wanted to share it with you. I would love to hear your feedback and gain additional insights around the job search. Let's set up a brief call. Here's a link to my calendar so we can find a mutually beneficial time. And then of course the link would be right after that. I look forward to meeting you virtually, and then your signature. So this is a good one, especially for those people you don't really know very well. So the recipe, my recipe for networking success is to be a SME, be remembered, be a brand, and more importantly, be nice and be respectful. So, all right. So let me ask you, and so I hope people will stay on for this part. Would you agree this has been time well spent so far? In the chat, you can type yes. If you say no, you can say no. Yes, definitely. All right, thank you. Well, I can't cover everything in a I can't cover everything you need in a 90-minute webinar. Is that right? Yeah, it's hard to do this. I mean, I've taken bits and pieces of things and put it out there. Would you agree with that? And then if I were to have a special offer so you could get everything you need to know, would that be of interest to you? Go ahead and answer, please, below to that. And, basically old habits die hard. So you can continue to apply for positions and go back into that black hole filled with the candidates, not hearing from recruiters, doing the same thing you're doing today. You can continue doing the same things that you're doing that frankly aren't working. Or you could join my masterclass that I'm setting up for August, where we have one-on-one calls for 15 weeks, where you could see noticeable results in the first 2 to 3 weeks. So of course, those results vary per client, right? So here's what you're going to get: how to develop your targets, 1 hour weekly group calls for 15 weeks. These are just the values that I've put on them. 2 1-hour one-on-one calls per month, developing your story from beginning to end, including your 30-second pitch, the why you, the tell me about yourself for the interviews, things of that nature, the resume and LinkedIn makeover, building your network and engaging with connections, creating content on LinkedIn. So the total value here would be about $12,300. So who's this work for? Well, it's work for me for executives who are doing their first job search of more than 5 years or plus. Executives who want to be a subject matter expert and share knowledge, but do not have the time or don't even know where to start. Executives who don't know where to start and need a career coach and an accountability coach. And finally, an executive who needs someone that has strong knowledge in recruiting and can help you through the back doors through his connections and help you understand the minds of how to get into the heads of recruiters and get your resume to the top and have you well prepared to conduct excellent interviews. So I had 2 choices. The first option was to go as cheap as possible and try to sell as much as I could. It wouldn't incentivize me to really track the value or stack the value. Second option is require a little higher investment, but in exchange, I can devote more resources and time to help guarantee your success, right? So if I were to throw in a bonus, the job strategy workbook, which is roughly about a $750 value, the bonus would be good for 30 people, and we're going to get there, folks, so stay with me. You're going to get the prep calls, the 1 hour one-on-one calls, the 2 of them, same things that I mentioned before, job strategy workbook. So now you're talking about the value's going up, right? So bonus number 2, though, if I was to throw in a second bonus, so I've got a list of email and LinkedIn engagement templates that work every time that will get you the results you need. So for the first 20 people, I'd offer that. Of course, you have all this stuff here. right? You have all of that, plus now I'm adding in 2 bonuses, so it's gone up a little bit more. If all I did was receive it, would it be worth it if you were to receive more calls from company recruiters? Would it be worth it if you were able to nail your interview successfully or help you land a job quicker? Yeah, it would be, right? Bonus number 3, and Sonia, I see your comment. Thank you very much. We can talk after the call. I'm willing to offer up one of my free webinars. So not all of my webinars are free, but if I were to throw in an upcoming webinar for free, which is another 300 value, that would be open for the first 10 people. So again, here's what you're going to get. All the same things. I'm not going to waste everybody's time here. So the total value, you're looking at a total of about 14K, right? However, I'm a good guy. So I'm going to have a masterclass starting August 3rd. Now, hopefully you won't need it the entire time, but certainly based upon some of the survey results that I was looking at, that a lot of you have been looking for 3+ months. And a lot of you, if you're in that executive role, again, in a director role or higher, it's going to take you longer. So it would be 15 weeks from August 3rd, which I believe is November 9th. It would have a group of people in it. So we'd be able to share ideas and things like that. It would be today. If you were to email me today, michael@hiringtransform.com, to say, Michael, I was on your webinar, I am in, I will take the special. It's either $697 today in full, or if you wanted to break it up into 4 installments, because I do believe that everyone has discretionary income, including myself. But so it'd be a little more to do the 4 installments of $250 a month. So now you have 2 choices, right? So the first one is to do nothing and just take the leap of faith. It's 100% risk free. There's no investment. You go do what you got to go do, and hopefully you land. Second option is you could putting up a small investment today, and compared to all the value you get in return, and give it a shot, right? If it works, if by investing in the $697, or however, if you want to do the installment plan, if it works, that's fantastic. If you feel within 30 days that it's not working for you, or you're not seeing the results you want to see, and again, results vary by the amount of work you put into this for our homework in our master classes, right? I'll give you your money back. No questions asked. So email me at michael@hiringtransform.com. That's going to be super important. So like I said, I don't care if it's 29 days, 23 hours, and 59 minutes from now. So let me know and I'll get you your money back. So if you didn't sign up immediately, reason number 1, you'd be throwing away the chance to get an expert service and advice for something under $1,000, which most job search strategists like myself, most outplacement services aren't offering anything close to that. They're charging tens of thousands, $3,000 to $10,000 in services and fees, and for under $700, this could be a deal. Reason number 2, you'll just be another candidate out there with the ability, who won't have the ability to differentiate themselves, become a subject matter expert, or the possibility to still be searching for employment in 3+ months, right? And then finally, the third reason, you wouldn't have an immediate access to myself or be immediately connected to other particularly participating members in the masterclass. So if you haven't been a part of a masterclass, it's a phenomenon. The $697 just for the connections alone are unbelievable, because you find that people are helping one another out. And I've been a part of a 6-month-long masterclass, which helped me become better in the sales and marketing arena. And so, so definitely I want you to email me, because here's what we're going to do. The first 10 people are going to get all 3 of the bonuses that we talked about, right? So going back, go back to this. So your bonus number 3, first 10 people attend one of my webinars for free. First 20 people, you'll get the LinkedIn email and templates. The first 30 people that sign up will get the Jobseeker workbook. So here's, $697. Again, you're not going to do any better than that. Email me at michael@hiringtransform.com. There's my phone number. Should you have any questions and want to call me and talk about this, but you do need to act today. So what time is it? It's almost noon. So you got 12 hours or 11 hours and 12 hours and 30 minutes. So I look forward to having you as a part of that masterclass. If you want to talk about it more, we can certainly talk about it. Here's ways to connect with me. Follow my YouTube channel. Super Recruiter is my Twitter. Though I'm not really on that as much. I'm really on LinkedIn. So if you are interested, let me know below privately, or let me know there, and then I'll make sure to get information for you. I'm building out the registration page now. Just didn't have time to build it out and to finalize for today. So just email me the first. So I've talked about the first 10, the first 20, the first 30. So $697. You can't beat a deal. I appreciate everybody that has signed on. And I hope you all have a great day, and I look forward to your questions. Feel free to email me should you have further questions. And again, obviously, if you're interested in joining the Job Search Strategy Masterclass. So thanks, everybody. And again, you'll get a recording of this in about 2 to 3 days. Have a great day, and all the best to you.